What's up, dude? How are you?
Good, man. How's it going?
Good, man. So thanks for coming on. We've known each other. When did you move here?
I've been here the whole way.
So you've always been here? Okay. Because I couldn't remember. Because I just remember you playing hockey in high school. We were like, how the hell do you play hockey? You're from here, you know? But so, I mean, I guess since kindergarten.
Yeah, I started at TL Rhodes.
Yeah.
And we're the same year, so 2007. So
graduated together, dude. So
we go back.
And I went this whole direction. You went. It's crazy to see everything kind of come back together. But I guess just tell everyone what you do and kind of we'll go from there.
Yeah, well, I work at KTBS. I started as a news producer, became a sports reporter, sports director. Now I do news anchoring as well. We have a podcast as well. So
what's the name of the podcast?
It's the Benchwarmers.
Okay.
So we do a little bit of everything, and it's a great time, man. You learn a lot about yourself, right, when that camera goes on. I'm sure you kind of feel it here too. Being able to be a personality, I guess, in front of however many people are watching. I mean, thankfully, I just have robotic cameras looking at me, so I don't know. But, yeah, I've been almost 15 years at KTBS now.
Yeah, so it's funny because growing up, you were always like the class clown.
Yeah,
that's like you were always like just like I was super quiet and reserved.
Yep, definitely.
But it's crazy to see like what that transformed into. So like I guess we never talked about it back then, but like what was this what you wanted to do?
Yeah, it was. Look, and I always wanted to be a hockey player first, of course, and that's always the dream. But that's not super realistic, right?
Yeah.
And I can go back to, gosh, I mean, way back in the day, like elementary school days. My parents got me a little karaoke machine, and I would use it to record my own sports radio show. I don't even know what I was talking about. I was like 6, but it was always something that stuck out to me. It was, if I can't play sports, I want to be involved in some way. And, we found a way to do it.
Well, how did you get into hockey?
The Shreveport Mudbugs, man.
Like you just watched them. You're like, I want to play.
Yeah. So I went to the first game ever, and I just remember, with my daddy, he thought I was going to be the best quarterback ever or the best, pitcher, whatever. He put me through everything, and I just nothing really took. And we went to that first Mudbugs game, and I was 8 years old, and I pointing at the goalie on the ice, and I'm like, that's it right there. That's what I want to do. And my dad's like, you got to be kidding me, man. You picked the most expensive possible
and also
sport.
Like not local to here.
Right. And to me, it was like, as a child, it was like, they're badass, man. They're wearing armor, they look so cool. You paint the helmets up really cool. And it was something that always stood out. And my dad was like, well, let's just try like skating like forward first and see if you like just the game. And went out, and all I'm doing is looking over at the goalies on the other end like, nah, that's what I want to do. And so that's what we did, man. The Mudbugs were super, and they still are super helpful for me growing up. I mean, I remember my first camp with Hugo Hamlin, one of their old goalies, and he did a goaltending school in town. I mean, that in Shreveport, that's insane, right? To have something like that. And they were so active with the community, and they still are. But when they were the professional guys, a little older, they were so active. I would go to Canada with Dan Wildfong to his parents' house and go to these camps up there. He'd take us on a jet up, and it was a crazy dream to chase, but very, very glad I did it.
Yeah, man. I didn't know kind of how what that origin was and where it led to. How long did you end up playing?
I played for almost 20 years. I went into junior. I played college. I played a little junior.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what I did right after high school. And there comes that moment in life where you're like, oh, got to probably figure something out here. And so it was a tough decision when I finally did hang it up, but obviously I'm very grateful that I did, and it's worked out.
Do you have any like lifelong injuries from it or anything?
No, I was pretty fortunate, honestly, especially for hockey. I have a little back injury that flares up when it gets cold, stuff like that. Nothing too serious. I only had to have one surgery. It was a hernia, so
only one.
not even that exciting, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I was pretty lucky. Broke pretty much all my fingers, but that's nothing. I mean, puck hits it or whatever. Definitely had a gnarly one. I can't remember how old I was, but when you're a goalie, you got the stick has the huge paddle. So when you're holding it with your blocker, you're holding it like this so the paddle doesn't spin on you.
Yeah.
And I had a puck roll right up and hit me right there. Finger goes the other way, bone sticking out.
Ooh.
That was probably the worst, like, oh my God.
And Oh yeah, that's rough.
But you don't really.
That's with the gloves on.
Yeah,
you got to get the gloves off of that.
Well, yeah. So they had to cut the glove off. I went to the hospital. They popped it all back into place, stitched me up, splinted it on my other finger, and I played later that night. So I mean, it's kind of the way it goes.
Dang, man. So from there, transitioning into I guess news. Like, what did that look like? Because you always had really supported like local sports too. I remember that, like us growing up, and I remember you big in the scene of like all sports, local stuff, high school stuff. So like, when did that like kind of transfer over into like a career, I guess?
Yeah,
starting a career.
Right. So I went to school for broadcast journalism. It was
okay. So
it was definitely a plan. The problem was for me was, I don't know what, I think maybe it was just that goalie mentality of, and I'm very much when I'm not at work, I'm much more of an introvert. I'm a loner. I mean, it's no surprise I picked a position in sports where I'm literally sitting on an island by myself. It was great. And I was deathly afraid of going on camera, man. I mean, even in school, I would avoid it at all costs. I mean, any project, we need 2 people to go on cam. I'm leaning to the back of the room like, not me. And I started at KTBS. I interned there in sports, and all I was doing when I was interning was I was just shooting games. So that was awesome. I was having a blast. And then when I finished college, they were like, well, look, we got a job for you. It's a producer, producing newscasts, and we'll see how you like it, and maybe one day there'll be a sports job open. And, I got in this grind of producing shows, and I didn't necessarily love it, but I was in the business, right? And, football comes around Friday night, I'm getting to shoot games. So I'm thinking, I'm avoiding the camera. I think I can do this. And we had a sports director come in, Paul Crane. Never will I be able to thank him enough for kind of pushing me, because I was helping out with sports a little bit when Tim Fletcher left, and Paul came in and he kind of watched what I was doing, and he was like, look, man, you gotta get over this. You got something, you need to get out there. And so it was about a year and a half, I would go out every Sunday. I'd go out in the studio. I'd prepare my own sportscasts, and I would just do a fake run. And for a year and a half, the general manager, George Servin, said, nope, I don't like it.
Really?
Not good enough.
You just kept.
So I just kept grinding, man. And,
you kept pitching them to him?
Like, hey, every week. I'd send him a new reel, be like, hey, this is what I did this week.
What do you think he didn't like about it? Did you find out later, like, what you needed to work on? Like,
for sure. I think my look was a lot of it, too. I mean, you remember I had the long hair and... Yeah, and I kind of held on to that for a while. Okay. I was, like I said, I was just nervous, man. Like, I didn't have that, presence.
But you wanted to do it.
Right. And it was getting to a point where, I could feel it. I was getting there. You know what I mean? I was getting closer, and Paul was watching it, and he was giving me feedback. And a lot of it was just reps. And in our business, it is reps all day. I mean, because, you can say you want to do it, or you could do a little Twitter or a TikTok video, but it's so different, man. When you got the suit on, the big camera's on you, the lights are on, they play that intro song, and it's like, holy crap, here we go.
You're live.
Yeah. And so, and it was a grind. Glad it kind of worked out that way. It was kind of like I kind of needed that kick in the pants a little bit to how the rejection it helps, and or if you handle it the right way. And finally a Christmas came along when no one wanted to work, and they're like, this is it, this is your chance. And I was like, all right, here we go. So I did my first anchored my first sportscast on a Christmas Day, and haven't looked back.
And so I guess like, you have to keep up with what does that look like? So, like, are you constantly watching like everything?
Yeah.
Like, are you getting input? Like, are you getting like a daily digest of what happened yesterday if you're missing this game or that game or what? And how do you guys pick what to highlight?
Well, we try to lean local.
But I do always see like some larger some stories. Like, so is that just like based on what happened big in that sport?
Obviously right now it's LSU College World Series. The game we saw last night with Arkansas was incredible, right?
See, I don't even watch team sports.
It was incredible.
Well, before we go into what about LSUS? Like, that was crazy. That was. Like, I've just been looking at this stuff, but I don't really watch. I should be watching more sports, but like, so where's LSU at right now in baseball?
LSU, they're in the championship of the College World Series now. They clinched it against Arkansas last night. They were down 2 runs in the bottom of the ninth, and Arkansas collapsed. It was You feel terrible for them, but it was incredible. But to answer your first question, you just kind of have to be dialed in, and it's something I'm passionate about anyway. So if I wasn't doing this job, I'd still be watching most of this stuff. Some stuff more than others. Not really a huge golf guy, right? But
I can't watch that either.
But we've got one of the best golfers in the world. Sam Burns is from Shreveport. Sam Burns and Philip Barbary, they were like the stars of the U.S. Open. So you kind of have to be dialed into that, even if it's not something you super love. But for the most part, anything football, baseball, basketball, whatever, we're in it. And it kind of depends on, some days you got too much stuff, right? Yeah. Some days it's like, I'll never fit any of this in. And then you have other days where you're just scraping for anything like, my gosh, can the Cowboys talk or something so I can get something on?
Yeah.
But it depends on the day. We're getting close to August now. So once that calendar goes there, it's high school football all day.
Yeah, man. It's do you cover anything like wrestling?
Yeah.
Like North Dakota's always real big in that, and some other schools. And then have you scratched into any MMA, mixed martial arts stuff at all? Like is any news doing that other than hey, there's a local show going on?
Yeah, not really, man. And we need to get together on that because I'd love to do some stories on that. And because we get so, how it is, you get so in that routine, right?
Yeah.
And the sports calendar kind of doesn't change, so you section it out and you know what you're doing every year. But yeah, we need to get together on that.
Yeah, just because I've been an advocate for that for a long time, and we have a really, really just our state in general has. Right. I don't know if you follow any of that.
Oh yeah, well I'm blanking on her name, Andrea Lee.
Yeah, Andrea.
Yeah, I've done a couple stories with her.
Yeah, so we have a few fighters that are from here that are still in the UFC,
right.
And top contenders, nationwide, at least in the top 10, we have, and it's like, man, I don't think a lot of people realize what talent has come out of here in the past 10 years, what all that's developed into. But I just was curious because honestly, I don't see a lot on it unless there's a show coming up or something.
Right. Yeah. No, we need to get on that because it is something that people love. And it's awesome.
It's local. It's local people
exactly.
anyways. Well, how do you so what does that look like? What does your day look like? Because I'm sure most people I don't think they realize, I know this because I've been in the marketing scene long enough, I don't think they were in event stuff, they realize how much work goes into what you guys do before people just think, oh, they watch those movies, what was the movie, Bruce Almighty or something where he just walks in and, oh, I'm just reading this, and no work was done ever just getting in there. So what does that look like?
And maybe that's true in bigger markets, right, where you have people that write for you and stuff like that. We do not have that at all. That is not the case. So a normal day for me, and I think it's kind of tough to say a normal day because that really almost doesn't exist in the news business. I think that's one thing I love about it. It's kind of always random and no one day's the same. But on a normal day, like today would be probably a normal day for me. So as soon as we get done here, I'll head into the office. I'll usually get in about 2 p.m. I prepare for my 3 and 4 o'clock newscasts. I anchor those as a news anchor. So take about an hour to read through the scripts, make any changes, figure out our interviews and yada, 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 stuff like that. And then from 3 to 5, I'm on the set. We're going through the shows. And while I'm on the set, I'm kind of, I'm starting that gathering process. I'm during breaks, I'm looking online, seeing what I got in terms of sports content. And then get done at 5. I got 5 to 6 to throw a sportscast together for the 6 o'clock show. We throw that together. We go out and do it. And then we get ready to start working on the 9 and 10 sports. And then usually about 11, I'm out of there.
Dude, that's a long day.
Yeah.
And that's like every day. What was that work schedule look like?
It's 2 to 11 every day.
Every day.
Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
Usually. Depends on,
And that, so gathering all that stuff, do you have to do a lot of homework too? Like a lot of stuff,
and a lot of stuff you're kind of already in it,
Well, you're. It's I guess like anything you're into. If you're into it, you already know what's going on.
Right.
It's like, hey, let's go over these set things.
Yeah, like today I know that I'm going to do some sort of recap on what LSU did last night. Like that's obviously going to be part of it. Looking ahead to the championship there. You mentioned LSUS. We're waiting on their trip to the White House.
Dude, I'm just happy for them for that. That's pretty cool to say, like, dude, holy shit, like undefeated.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
That's never happened.
No.
Right? Never in the history of baseball ever.
Right.
That's just insane to think about.
Yeah, 59-0. And I think, honestly, it kind of shows the magic of sports in so many ways to me. Because, look, I've been doing this for over a decade, and sometimes, especially when it's not football season, you can that motivation maybe is harder to find. And not so much anymore after LSUS, because you kind of get a reminder of, look, we've covered LSU national championships, which is great. It's badass, right? But there was something about LSUS and seeing what our coverage meant to them, right? A team that doesn't get a lot of normal coverage. We may go out to a game or two, tell a story about a guy on the team, but what we did for them this year was something that we would do for an LSU or Louisiana Tech or something like that, and they've never experienced anything like that. We heard from parents of the players all the time on social media thanking us for everything. The team gave me and Sydney a signed poster for the national championship because they were so thankful. It was just like you feel the impact of what you do. Thanks to LSUS, and the interest that was generated from them was crazy. I mean, outside of high school football, that is by far the most interested anyone has been in our product. I mean, I literally, how many weeks out are we from that happening?
What, two or 3 weeks?
Yeah, yesterday I had to send more video to a station in Denver that was wanting to do a story about it.
Really?
Yeah, it's around the country. We sent it to World News Tonight, Good Morning America, CNN, ESPN,
That's
and
cool.
they all used our stuff.
They just get requests. They just get requests to say, hey, can I get that? That's crazy.
Yeah, so we're obviously ABC
the same
affiliate.
Network, yeah.
Yeah, so ABC, ESPN, all them will hit us up. CNN, we work with them too. So they just send us an email, say, hey, can we get this? And they were on the Pacific time zone when they were in Idaho, so the game ends around midnight, and I'm up there till 1 or 2 in the morning. I got to make sure I take care of World News Tonight because I'd be a real asshole if I didn't.
Well, not only that, but you're proud of it too. It's like, hey, dude,
of course,
this is something that was cultivated right here.
Yeah.
Which you don't see a lot. Like, especially, dude, baseball is so popular in this area.
Yep, it is.
And it has been since we were young. And I played, I don't remember, did you play?
No.
Dude, you were just all hockey. Yeah.
That's it.
Dude, I got so burnt on it so early because, like, everyone, like, all the people we grew up with, like, so many people were playing. Dude, and I just was burnt out. Like, and I can't hardly watch a baseball game now unless it's in person. Like, I don't know. As a kid, dude, that's all we had to do, really. There wasn't we weren't playing, football too, yeah, but, like, baseball just was, like, every day almost.
Well, I got, buddies with kids. They're, hey, what you doing this weekend? Well, I'm going to be at the ballpark all weekend. I'm like, oh, gosh. Yeah. I get it.
It's cool. It's great. It's extremely popular. It's a great sport. And but to see something like that, like, all these people around here playing so much, and it's like everyone plays and spends all this money and does all this travel ball and all this stuff, and they just never kind of
right.
That's what you got to be the top 1% to make it somewhere.
Yeah, and I shouldn't. It's funny that I would say that about baseball because God bless my parents. They were taking me to Dallas and every weekend to play hockey.
That's what I was going to say. Like, you didn't have a local sport, so you were going to somewhere else every single weekend.
Yeah, we were on the road every weekend. We would go. You probably didn't know this, but our freshman year in high school, I guess I could probably say this now. It's been a long time. I actually played illegally for a high school team in Dallas. They had me listed as a homeschool kid. So it's a little recruiting action there. So I played a full high school hockey season in Dallas, going to Houghton the whole year.
How did that work? Is this weekend games?
Yeah. So we'd go once a week for a practice. We had to kind of you look back, it feels so dumb, but we had to, I had to tell all my teammates, my parents are super strict and I'm homeschooled. They don't let me out of the house. And I'm at Houghton, just hanging out at Houghton, with like the least strict parents of all time. And it was awesome. Like, high school hockey in Dallas is the real deal. They got the bands out there, and I'm sure it's even bigger now. And
Texas high school sports are insane, man.
And it was sick. And then, unfortunately, people started to kind of figure it out. And so I don't know how they did. I don't know how they did it, but the parents of somebody had a picture of me at Houghton in the and
that's
said,
before social media too.
Yeah, and said, hey, if you go ahead and step away now, we won't turn you in. So that's how that ended.
Well, hey, you were just trying to play, man.
That's
Couldn't
it,
play
man.
here.
Yeah,
it's not like
it.
you're,
And now, thankfully, they do have high school hockey here.
They do?
The Mudbugs run a high school hockey program.
Okay, that's
cool. And they just won a championship over in Dallas in the Dallas League this past season. I'm so happy for those kids that get that opportunity because, the Hirsch is owned by the Mudbugs.
Right.
So when I played here, they were in CenturyLink. It was CenturyLink back then. And you had to rent that.
That was back when they played, and then you had the Battle Wings there too.
Right.
Yeah, we had a big local sports team for that. Yeah.
Man, but for youth hockey, you got to rent that ice at the CenturyLink. Exactly. Now George's Pond, Mudbugs just turn the lights on and say, "Hey, get after it."
Yeah, that's what's up. What Man, I didn't. That's so funny, Dad. I had no idea.
Yeah. It was the hockey journey took me to some pretty crazy places.
So you get into memorabilia? Do you get like do trading cards? You into any of that stuff?
No, I do. I pretty much have the same like 3 interests as I've had my entire life. I'm real big into Star Wars and Dragon Ball, and I've got a lot of Dragon Ball statues at the house. And my wife and we're in the 501st for Star Wars cosplay troupe.
Dude, I see y'all's cosplay.
Yeah,
so that's cool, man.
Yeah, so we got a ton of just helmets and my room where I play my video games. We call it the Death Star, and my wife set it up for me a few Christmases ago. It has like the big Death Star light panels, got helmets hanging all over the wall, lightsabers on the wall. It's pretty freaking sick, man.
That's awesome. I didn't know to what extent you guys did stuff, but y'all got married.
Yeah.
And you had like lightsabers.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that. I was like, that's badass, dude.
Full on Star Wars wedding. One of those moments where, I'm kind of standing up in front of everybody looking around. I'm like, man, if you told 13-year-old Alex that this was how this was going to go down, he wouldn't believe it, and it was, very fortunate to find another nerd that was willing to marry me,
Yeah.
and we had Darth Vader and Kylo Ren and stormtroopers, and the craziest part about our wedding, my wife Kim, love you, she hired actors to like bust into the wedding and have a lightsaber duel, and I had no idea. And we never
did the pay, like did your guests know?
No one knew. Yeah, and so we're getting ready to we're just hanging out, we're at the reception or whatever, and Kim comes up to me, she's like, oh yeah, we got to do our first dance. I'm like, this was very meticulously planned, and the first dance was never brought up. I mean, I know it's a thing, right? But we never talked about it. I'm like, all right. And it's that cheesy ass Casey and JoJo song. I can't remember off the top of my head. Whatever, but it's very not my wife,
right?
To do the on the nose thing, right? And I'm like, man, this is something is going on, and she's kind of got that smirk on her, and all of a sudden the music shifts. It's Duel of Fates, and these Jedi are running in, and it was a Sith themed wedding, and they were like, we must stop this Sith union, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? And then the one guy's like, I'll do it myself, and he starts coming at me with the lightsaber, and then he stops like he's being held up by the Force, and then all these Sith guys come out from the crowd, and they have this whole duel, and
where did y'all do this at?
It was in New Orleans.
Dude, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was at NOLA Brewery in New Orleans.
Awesome.
And my wife everyone was like, Alex, man, your acting skills are incredible. I'm like, nah, that was real. I had no freaking idea that was going to happen. I was like, what the hell? But it was certainly a highlight of life right there.
That is awesome. Yeah, I mean, that's something, especially for the guests too, to say that they experienced that.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, it's funny that you do like the sports stuff and the nerd stuff.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of times you don't see that crossover.
Yeah.
I guess here, I don't know, man. I say nerd stuff, but you said it, so I feel like it's okay for me to say it, dude. But like, I get into like, I was big into like Pokemon. We were growing up, and Dragon Ball and all that stuff, and then I kind of just didn't mess with any of it forever, and then I kind of got back into like cards whenever these people we know, like I kind of stepped out of the fight scene because I really wasn't doing anything with it other than just fighting local shows and not doing anything, going anywhere. And it was always like a hobby for me, not a career. Well, these people went into and they become a career, and they have these trading cards, and I was like, dude, I'll get back to the cards. And so I've kind of gotten into that with like the UFC cards and stuff.
Yeah.
And then my kids like the Pokemon stuff, so that's cool because you can kind of like rehash that, But that entire just, there's so much attention on it now, and it's pretty awesome. Like that you guys can go do all that stuff and hang out with a lot of people that are into it too, and like it's crazy.
Oh, what we do at the 501st is unbelievable. Like the way they have it all set up, and it's a volunteer thing. We go to a lot of hospitals, stuff like that, and you don't really realize how much, because for us, we obviously know everyone that's in it. We know who's under the mask. It doesn't. You don't feel maybe that same magic as someone that's not familiar with it, or a kid, right? And you walk into a room with a bunch of kids in full, movie style cosplay, and I mean, they lose their minds. I mean, it's like, oh my gosh, Darth Vader's here. Like, it's not, they don't think it's some random person in a suit, but it's very rewarding. And we do all kind of events. like whatever. And you can reach out to the 501st. Bast Alpha Garrison is the local garrison, and you can put in a request. Hey, we're having whatever event. Can we get some Star Wars folks? And more than likely we'll have some people come out.
Really? That's cool. I didn't even know.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing here locally.
Yeah.
So, and they've expanded their franchise like a lot.
Yeah.
Like, what do you keep up with all that stuff?
Oh, Star Wars?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, they've expanded. Like, is there stuff you don't like that they've
Definitely.
done? Yeah, because I hear that a lot from like traditional guys like you.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not well read in it, but I do I'll sift through and watch all the original stuff. Yes. Like even the stuff that started coming out when we were younger.
Right.
Yes. But
of course.
Some of this stuff I'm just like, I can't keep up with all of it. You know?
Yeah, it's a lot. And I'm not one of those, like, I try to take it all in myself, right? I don't want to look at reviews or what this person on YouTube said about it. I want to like actually see how I feel about it. And it's okay to not like something from your favorite franchise. Like, it doesn't mean that it's over and it's never going to be good again. Some stuff just doesn't hit. And I think Disney's ownership of Star Wars, I think we've kind of got about a 50-50. Like, some of it's really good and some of it's just not.
It's the same thing with Marvel.
Right.
I'm a Marvel nerd, man, and like I try to consume all of it, and some of them I'm just like, dude, I can't. It's just not. It's just they miss the entire thing here.
Yeah, and that's cool. Like,
that's okay.
Yeah, and not everything is for you.
But it brings other people into the mix too, right? That may have not been a traditional,
exactly.
I guess a traditionalist.
Yep.
And it brings them into the game, and they may be captive, and then at that point.
It's part of getting older, right?
Yeah.
It's you have that.
We're those old grumpy complaining dudes now.
Well, you have that tough moment in life where it's like, man, they're not making Call of Duty for me anymore. They're making it for me when I was in college, and it's tough to come to that realization, but then you start playing single player games, you relax a little bit.
Yeah, I kind of felt the age thing here recently. I think Josh and I were talking about, we were on a shoot, and a friend of mine who's actually younger is actually now a doctor. And so like, when you're growing up or even into your early, adult years, when you see someone that has like a position like that, you're like, man, you just see them as older than you.
Right.
Well, now this person is younger than me. I'm like, dude, I'm past that threshold now.
Yep.
Stuff's different. I look at things differently. I complain about stuff. Then I laugh. I'm like, I remember when people were and I would laugh at people for complaining about the dumbest stuff.
Well, my sister's a vet, and I mean, she's been my little sister my whole life.
Yeah.
And when she's talking about doing surgeries and stuff, I'm like, oh man, Paige is so far ahead of me in life. What I mean?
But it's just that those positions.
Right.
I guess when we were growing up, there wasn't like, you couldn't be like an influencer or whatever. It was just like doctor, lawyer, dentist, whatever. Those were like the coveted.
Well, you asked every kid our age, what do you want to be when you grow up? Oh, doctor.
Yeah, because I want to make money, right? Now it's like there's so many things to do and make money, or the world opens up and you realize that as you grow up. But it just made me feel older. I was just this makes me feel old. I don't know why.
Well, and I think like, especially for my sister's case, she talks about school all the time and all the crazy crap they did in vet school, and I'm like, I was making music videos with my friends. That was my final project, was for video editing. You know what I mean? I was like, I was doing nothing, man. Like, in comparison, but yeah, it definitely makes you feel a little older for sure. And we're getting close to 40.
I know, dude. It's weird. We're about to have our 20th. Yeah, our 20th anniversary.
That's wild.
I know, because I feel like we just had our 10 maybe 2 years ago or something.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
It does not feel like that long ago at all.
Yeah, it's scaring me, because you heard that growing up too, man. It goes by so fast. It's going by fast. Yep. And look, there's days that are very slow.
Yep.
But just in the grand scheme, it's just like, I guess as you get older and become an adult and you're doing things, there's just so many tasks. You have tasks all the time, and those tasks just run together. Have
you been to Houghton recently? The high school?
No. So
it'll make you feel real.
Well, I was going to bring that up. So dude, it's grown so much. And I haven't been to the actual school probably 10 years.
Right.
But just I'm driving through Houghton for something all the time, at least once a week. And like the new middle school.
Yeah, it's crazy, because we opened the old middle school.
We opened, we
were there the first year.
The first year we opened.
We were 7th grade, I think. Yeah, first year it opened.
No, we were 6th, because Princeton
We went to Princeton for a year, didn't we?
5th grade.
Yeah, okay.
And then we
right,
started 6th grade at Halton, the year it opened.
Yep.
I believe.
Yeah, and they already outgrew that.
Yeah.
And that was not that. I mean, I guess it kind of was. Okay, never mind.
I know. I was just saying
Yeah,
that.
we were just talking about that.
It was like 15 years ago.
But yeah, I mean, all the
20 years
houses out there now, and remember the old T buildings? They're gone.
So so the original school still, they're just adding on to that? Or like,
Yeah, I want to say they tore down the H building. Are they going to or something? I don't remember.
Is that the one that the class of 70-something painted on?
Probably. It was the one where you'd always go when you were tardy.
Yeah.
With the woman that was smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
Now that's how the tale rolled right there.
Yeah.
That was a thing.
It was a thing.
Yeah.
Teachers could smoke.
Yeah.
And I was trying to think. And they've done a lot to I guess Dak's also been generous too.
Yep.
But they've done a lot. Like, what's that look like? You keep staying.
Yeah, so I go obviously for games,
yeah,
right? So the campus is unreal, man. Like the office now, the new office that they have. Oh my god, like it doesn't even look like the same place. Like you recognize the location, but it's like you're in a totally different school. The football field's full turf now, which is insane. I mean, you remember that grass out there? That was not the best quality of grass, but it's full turf. They're building a new weight room, a new video board that's going to be one of the biggest in the country out at the football field, and that's part of Dak's donation. It is, you almost wouldn't recognize it, man. It's awesome. I mean, the growth is really fantastic.
Yeah, I think it was so old when we were there. It was old when we were there. Just to see it grow. Like I know, like I said, a lot of attention's been on there because what Dak's career has done. But hey, it's great.
Yeah.
Because I mean that's where it started, you know. Mm-hmm. Well, what else, man? What else do you have going on? Like what else do you do other than these couple things we talked about, or do you have any aspirations or anything that you're looking to do, like in your career?
Yeah.
Or what's that look like?
You know, we were talking about Rick Rowe a little bit.
Yeah.
But before we
shout
started.
Out to Rick.
Yeah, shout out. He's the man. I think a lot of times in my business, you're trying to move up to a higher market or whatever, and that's never really been a big motivation for me. I love it here. I'm sure you kind of feel the same way. We're from here. This is home. And to be able to tell the stories that I tell, whether it be at Houghton or Parkway. I mean, I'm wearing the Parkway hat right now because Houghton can't beat them, and I keep losing a bet. But just stuff like that, right? I wouldn't have that anywhere else. And I mentioned Paul Crane earlier, and he said something to me very early in my career, and it really changed my outlook on everything because I was kind of in that same boat when I first started. Like, what's the next step? Where am I going next? Where do I want to be? And Paul told me when he left, he was like, he kind of did chase that. He was a sports director in Dallas. He worked at CNN. He achieved the dream in our business, if you will. And he said, I chased all these things. I put off so many family things. I was absent for so many dance recitals or whatever, and then I came to KTBS and I met Rick Rowe and Bob Griffin. And I said, those are the two happiest men I ever met in my life. And it's because they found some place that loved them and they loved them back, and they made it home and they made a career there. And he was kind of like, I wish I would have done that. And that always stood out to me, man, because this is home. And you look at someone like Rick and the life has here. And I mean, Rick doesn't have a bad day because he loves what he does.
Yeah.
And I think that's something, I think that's the goal more so than I want to be on ESPN, right?
Yeah, I mean that's why I asked, because I mean I assumed, I didn't know, you know, because if especially in sports, people shoot for that, right. But you being happy and content here, and content by any means is not a bad thing.
Yeah, of course.
Because people chase it their entire life and never get it, right? So you having that says a lot, and then also just reaffirming people who are here, hey, we can count on you.
Yeah, absolutely. And it goes a long way in our business, right? Because we're about to lose our meteorologist, Caroline. And I mean, obviously, it's not like she's doing anything wrong. She's not from here. She's moving up. Mm-hmm. And but it hurts, man. Like, and you could see, like, she actually made the post yesterday that she was leaving. And I mean, that post was up for 20 minutes, and it's hundreds of comments. Oh, we're so sad. We're gonna miss you. Whatever. I don't know if I could do that. I've been here for so long. And she's been here for a little over a year, and I don't know. I don't want to hit send. And I'm like, man, I don't know how I could say, like, hey, I'm done.
Yeah.
That's it. So I don't think that's happening anytime soon. It won't be my choice if it did. But yeah, I just love it here. And, you know, KTBS has been so good to me. There's very few places, I think, in the country that I could have kind of gone the path that I've gone on. Because, you know, people ask me all the time, well, did you ever think about moving, you know, whatever? And I'm like, look, if I went to another station in a bigger market, I'm not anchoring news. You know,
No,
I'm not able to do all these other things that KTBS.
Start like and just
right.
That one position.
Exactly.
I'm assuming.
Exactly, and that's a downgrade to me. You know, I mean, I'm on TV, you know, working on my craft for hours every day, whereas in the past I was on for 6 minutes. You know, so I'm very thankful to KTBS and what they've allowed me to do, and especially with Friday Football Fever, like.
Yeah, that was awesome. Like just seeing that kind of, you start heading that up, and just from like I said, I'm not a huge like team sport person.
Right.
So, but just from an outside looking in, it just looks like it's a great thing that's grown a lot.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, you know, I don't know what the future holds for me exactly at KTBS, whether it is I transition to a full-time news anchor or whatever, but they're going to have to rip that show out of my cold dead hands because it ain't happening, man. Like, I've thought about it before, you know, another sports guy comes in and I'm like,
no, that's
don't
my
worry,
baby,
I
man.
I got it.
Yeah, that's my baby.
And it's been, I mean, we've had so much fun, and, you know, I'm certainly a kid of Chris Berman, NFL prime time, you know, whatever. And always just as a kid watching, I'm like, man, it would be so awesome to do that. Like just highlights, you know, just really get into it. And I get to do it. You know, it's not the same. It's not the NFL, but you know, those kids on the field, it feels like it is, right?
Yeah, they're chasing that dream, and they're full throttle.
Yeah, and it's special. And to be part of that, you know, like you see someone like Tre'Davious White, right? He plays in Buffalo, went to LSU. When LSU won the national championship last time with Coach O, Tre'Davious was there, and I hadn't seen Tre'Davious in 10 plus years, right? I covered him a long time ago. And I mean, the second he spotted me across the field, he ran over, hugged my neck, and that's cool because it's like a NFL star that's doing that.
Cool.
No, that's cool. But it was like more of this guy that's a mega millionaire, has done everything he's ever wanted to do in life. He remembered who was there, covered him in high school, and to make those connections and to make that impact on somebody, it's awesome. Yeah,
and it just gives you reassurance that what you're doing matters more than just, hey, we're just covering sports, you know, or covering a game, you know?
Yeah, and you know what else is crazy? I was getting memed this year. That was new. That's a new experience for me. So I'm sitting at Thanksgiving with my family, and I've got two younger cousins, Austin and Mason. Austin he's a pitcher at Northwestern State right now, and Mason is playing baseball at Houghton still. And they're sitting there and they keep looking at their phones and they're looking at me and they're laughing and they're kind of, I'm like, all right, what are we doing here? And they're like, I don't know if I should show you. I don't want you to be mad. I'm like, I don't care. Just show me. And I cannot remember what the page was called, but it was an Instagram page. It was some local kids messing around, and they did memes of a lot of the local football stuff, and there was a ton of them about me. And they were like, I just don't want you to be mad. And I'm like, no, dude, this is freaking awesome. The kids are memeing me.
I made it.
I'm doing something, man. Like they're, you know, and it was all, you know, some of the stuff I guess would be classified as mean, but it don't matter to me, man. Like it's like I said, I'm being memed. And people are watching enough to pick up on tendencies or whatever. That's great.
Yeah, no, that's hilarious. Y'all have a powerhouse, man. You, Rick, Patrick. Who else is there? Like that long time. We're actually kind of losing them. But you know, we had Joe Haynes for so long. Yeah, Joe was there. Yeah.
Jerry May's still in the area. He's retired. Yeah. He was in the studio the other day recording something, and I mean, you literally walk in the studio and you just hear his voice. It's like, oh my God, Jerry's here. You knew it right away.
Yeah.
But Patrick is definitely one of our big guns right now.
It's just growing up, like before all this internet stuff. It's just like Channel 3 was like.
Yep.
It was the powerhouse, you know, and it just you see all these anchors that you're aging out, retiring. It's like, man, and then you guys are, you know, they're handed the torch over. You're kind of brightening it up and changing a little bit, and still, you know, just constantly evolving. It's just cool to see.
It's a crazy thing to kind of be in that position at a place where you kind of grew up watching it. You know what I mean? It's super weird sometimes. Like,
I bet that is surreal.
Yeah, I have those moments sometimes, like, because it's our 70th anniversary of the station, right? So we have a lot of like retro logos up all the time right now, and so that you'll kind of look over and you'll see that logo, that what it was when we were younger, and it's like, oh wow, that's pretty cool. It
is cool, dude.
Because you get caught in the grind.
Well, when we were growing up, like that, those were celebrities,
right?
They were like celebrities. It's different now because you could have a TikTok go viral with a celebrity, so it's completely different. But when we were children, those people, even like Rick, because like when you saw them, you're like, oh my god, oh my god, they're famous, and that was. You were like your position now. You would have been a celebrity, to be like a huge celebrity.
100%. I think about it all the time, man. And when I first started producing for Jerry, oh my God, I was terrified, right? I'm like, I can't mess this dude up. This dude's a freaking legend. It's Jerry May, and I'm writing what he's reading what I'm writing on TV, and that was pretty nerve-wracking. And but thankfully, he is like the nicest dude in the world, and was very helpful. But no, it's totally right. I mean, because what else did we have going on when we were kids? We didn't really have the internet until later. So you
didn't have ESPN,
right? We're watching local news.
If you had it, it was one channel, and if you had cable, but like you didn't. Like you would watch the football games on certain days.
Yeah,
like,
and we all had satellite because we lived in the woods.
Right.
And so a little drop of rain comes through, and that's a wrap.
Even still, it was satellite, your local news, you didn't have social media. So you were consuming all of your news from that channel.
And I think that is, obviously that's a huge challenge for us.
So what does that look like now? Because you've seen it evolve, right?
Yeah.
You've been in it, you got into it as social media was probably actually being utilized to start you. So what does that look like?
Well, gone are the days of saving anything for air. Right.
Yeah, that's not happening.
It's get it out.
You got to jump on it immediately.
Yeah, like it's social first is what we always say. Something happens, you get it on social. And this also comes a kind of a mentality, and I've noticed this shift, at least for us, of like, look, especially in sports, right? Everyone knows what happened in the Cowboys game. I don't really need to tell you.
Yeah.
I mean, if you care, you know.
Yeah.
It shifted more to let's tell good stories, right? Let's give that content that you're not getting somewhere else. Because everyone knows what Dak said about the game, right? But we could find a different angle on Dak, or what he's doing for Houghton, or something like that you're not going to see somewhere else. And I think that's kind of the thing. And even starting the podcast.
I was going to ask you about that next.
Yeah, even starting the podcast is a new thing for us. And I think it's kind of, let's show our personality a little bit. Let's be a little different.
Is it video and audio?
Yeah.
So where does that air, and how do you shoot that, and what does that look like?
So we do it. We have a spare studio upstairs in our newsroom. We call it Studio 321. So we've kind of just transformed it into a podcast studio. They have the back walls green screen, so we have different backgrounds for all of our podcasts. It's for us Benchwarmers. It's me and Daniel Brown. We just kind of do what we're doing here. We just rap about sports. We'll have a guest every week. We usually try to shoot our interview with the guest early ahead of time. Try to bank them, and then we'll kind of just talk whatever local sports around that interview and kind of just slap it together.
Gotcha.
We've got our last guest. We had Centenary head coach Byron Dawson. He was incredible. You got to get him on, actually.
Okay.
He's so good.
Okay.
He sends motivational texts every day to like hundreds of people. Thankfully, I'm one of those people.
Nice.
Get one every day. Fantastic guy. Next week, we're going to have Philip Barbary on, one of the guys, the U.S. Open guys from here. So that'll be a lot of fun, too. And look, we haven't really... I don't know how many people are listening to it. I mean, we've been kind of scared to ask because we're having a good time with it. But it's something.
But it's distributed everywhere. Like podcast wise.
All the podcast spots, YouTube, and then on our website for the video version. And it's certainly a new medium for us. And I think that we're trying to find our footing in that. But I think there is something there, right? In terms of, I think people want to get to know us a little better.
Yeah, it's extremely important.
Yeah.
It really is, especially when it just creates a new connection.
Right.
It really does. And I've just noticed that just from doing these with people and then seeing the feedback from their audience that never got to see that side of them. And it's just like, wow, okay, it makes me feel like it's actually worth doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. And then I'm just thinking, I'm like, oh, I kind of cussed a couple times here. But no,
sorry.
It'll be fine.
I do it a lot. I'm trying not to today.
No. I was wondering that when I came in. I was like, do I want to just come in hot right off the bat and see what happens? But
I do it a lot. I'm sorry, guys.
Look, KTBS viewers, I curse sometimes. It happens.
Yeah.
Not on air. That would be, except every once in a while, you might accidentally throw in a Bossier shitty. instead of Bossier
Ah.
City. Oh, that's gotten a few people. Hasn't gotten me yet, but it's always fun.
That's hilarious.
And you can always hear the rest of the people in the studio.
It can happen easily though if you think about how you roll it together. Yeah.
Oh, and when you're talking fast or when you're just reading a prompter, like that's the other thing that's really weird. Like this here is super easy for me.
Well, I have to be careful because I know you.
Right.
And so I'll casually like mumble or slur a little
Right,
bit.
right.
When I have someone on I don't know, I'll like watch some of the reels and stuff. And I'm like, I was speaking way better there. And like my dialect was better and everyone can understand me. And that's what I have to work on sometimes. Like, let me make sure I'm not slurring or you know what I mean? Like just casually enunciating everything I say.
I feel like I fight that on Friday nights so often because when we're in like highlight 20 of the night and we're ripping and rolling, I get to a point where it's like I'm just watching it with y'all too. Like I'm just hanging out. I'm enjoying this too. And when I'm reacting to stuff, sometimes I'm like, all right, peel it back, Alex. So you're kind of getting a little too like literally like I'm sitting on the couch with a beer like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And but the prompter, like I'm a much better ad-libber. Like when it comes to sports stuff, I don't really write like super concise scripts for myself. I kind of know what I want to say. I give myself some bullet points and I go with it. With the news anchoring, that's been a struggle a little bit. I've gotten better at it, but reading the prompter, stay into what it says, not throwing your own things in there. Like it's a much different.
You can't be a cowboy there.
Right. Because on a Friday night, I can kind of do, I can stay in the lines, but I can kind of do whatever I want. I don't know. I don't see these highlights before the show or anything. So like I said, I'm watching it with y'all. Like we're experiencing this together and I'm not, the scripts, we've got 15 people going out every night shooting for us. Some people are reporters, some people are not. And so the scripts aren't always super. Like I tell my people, just tell me this guy throws to this guy touchdown. I'll figure out the rest in the middle. And so that's a lot easier for me than, buttoned up, we're reading the news and there's some serious topics going on and I got to put on that.
Yeah, that's another thing because there is. And like you have to be middle of the line on a lot of stuff.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like the way you deliver it has to be a certain way because that's the way you deliver it.
It doesn't matter how you deliver it because, people are going to hear.
Oh, yeah, of course.
People are going to hear whatever they want to hear.
Yeah, no matter. Yeah.
We get emails every day. We're either, we're this or we're that. And I'm like, well, it's got to be one of them.
Just reporting the news.
Yeah,
man.
exactly. Well, you can't. Look, this day and age, and that's another huge struggle for our business, is misinformation.
Yeah.
And people believing whatever they see.
Yeah.
And then having a premeditated opinion on whatever, and no matter what you say, it's going to be spun into what they disagree.
Well, there's people that are locked. They're locked and loaded and ready. They're ready to fire. All they need is a target. As soon as they get one, they're shooting at it.
And we can be the target.
Yeah, and anyone can.
Yeah.
Anyone can. If there's a buzzword that they were locked onto, as soon as they see it, they're going to get after you. And it's the nature of our world now, and it's interesting that we've evolved to that.
Yeah.
But I think the people that really understand what we're doing here, any of us, like they know, look, man, we're going to work around that.
Well, and I try to tell people all the time, like even viewers that call, I'll have a conversation with them. I'm not going to just brush them off if they have an issue. And I'll tell them like, look, man, we don't work for ABC or CNN or whatever. We're just normal people.
Yeah.
We're just doing our job, man. We're reading the news. It's not, we're not injecting our opinions. The thing about a newsroom is you don't really talk about that kind of stuff, right? Because it would get really uncomfortable really fast.
Yeah.
If you knew everyone's opinion on whatever and
then you have to bring up a topic.
Exactly.
It's not, you're not.
Because we're always talking about some of the most controversial stuff going on in the world because it's in the news, right?
Yeah.
And so we try really hard to avoid that. The newsroom chatter is going to be a lot of, kind of that water cooler, did you see the game or did you see this or did you see that? Or
you guys are casual. I've been on like announcing events and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm back there and just like talking like casual. I'm like, they're about to go live and they're just chill. They're like, whatever. Just talking about, I should have wore those shoes yesterday or something like that.
Oh yeah. The conversations, I got to give a shout out to my guy, Matt. He's one of our directors. So we always have him in the ear in the IFB. And I'm telling you, this dude is like the funniest person I've ever met in my life. And it'll be the most serious story ever rolling right now. And he's got the just dead on, right on time joke, and we're the only ones that can hear it. And
He's trying to trip you up or something.
Yeah. And he's gotten me to crack a few times on air, and then I'm like, I can't even explain why I'm laughing at this point. But he does. He's got a soundboard upstairs, and he records all the crap that we say, whether it be on air or off air, and he'll cut up sentences and make things out of context and play them back all the time, and stuff like that. People think that we're sitting around and talking about all this political stuff or whatever all the time. Nah, we're usually just laughing at Matt's soundboard, or we're throwing a football through the newsroom, or we're goofing off. It's and you kind of have to be that way, because if you took this stuff super seriously all the time, I mean, there's no way you could do it.
Yeah, you'd be a nervous wreck. Yeah, for sure. Beat Gray early too.
Right. We're getting there.
We're bumping 40, man. Yep. But dude, no, I just wanted to kind of get some attention on what you do, man, and also just you've been on my list to have on the podcast stuff. I wanted to go back to that real quick, just because. So what does that look like? How often you guys do you do it once a week?
Yeah.
Or okay, and how long have you been doing it?
About 3 months now.
Okay.
It's still relatively new, and we try to blend it into our day as much as we can. So, for example, like tomorrow, I'll have to go in a few hours early for the Barbary interview, because some people are flexible. Some people like, well, whenever they can go, let's go.
Dude, yeah, you got it. Yeah. You got, if you got a guest, you got to go on their schedule. That's what I do here. It's just like, hey, dude, like, what works for you? You know what I mean? Especially if there's someone that's a higher profile. You know what I mean?
And that's, with Barbary, he kind of is. I mean, he's a professional golfer. It's a little different than, high school coach that we talk to every day and can just like, hey, you want to hop on a Zoom real quick? And we do all of our interviews on Zoom because... for
the podcast?
Yeah.
You just cut them in? Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
Because, it's... Some people want to come up to the studio, and we'll have them, but it's a little easier.
I've been teetering on going back and getting some... I have a lot of people that I have connections with that I could have on, but I have to Zoom it, and I had to do, like, I started this right before COVID. I think I started this like October of 19, right? COVID hit. And so I had a lot of high profile guests on, like, from all over. And I did it via Zoom just so I could keep having this thing. And then as soon as I was able to get back in the studio, I was like, I never want to do that again. So I'm still teetering. And I guess if somebody tells, or if I have enough people tell me, hey, you should do it, then maybe I'll do it. But it was just like, it felt like I was just filling air.
Yeah, totally.
For me. Like, for me, like, not the same scenario for you, because you guys you're going back and forth, and then you're bringing this in, then you're still back and forth. So you still have the in-person.
Yeah.
For me, it was like, I'm here, computer in front of me. I can't read the emotion as well. I can't get in a depth about the real serious stuff that I could talk. Like, if you're here, like, and you're telling me something, and there's been a couple times I've cried on here because people say some.
For sure.
We've gotten some crazy stuff on here, and people, they're just laying out everything, and you're just like, dude, I can't get that same connection from a screen. So I'm still really hesitant to doing that. But if there's someone I just couldn't turn down, I probably would inject it back in.
The conversation is so much easier when you're in front of them too, especially because like I feel like all the time I'm like interrupting my guest because I can't tell. They can't read that I'm like, that they sparked something or whatever. Yep. So like we had Benton head coach Stephen Dennis on a couple of weeks ago, and he was talking about Creed and how much he loved Creed, and I was like, I want to get in there, but I couldn't like find the spot, you know what I mean? I'm like, I wanted to, and so it was kind of like that awkward moment, and then you cut it out later. But the in person is certainly ideal. I think for any case,
1000%. And I just I've been in those scenarios where I was like wanting to prompt them, like it felt like they were waiting on me to prompt them on everything,
right?
And I'm just like, that's not really my style. Like, so now I need to load up questions in my head because I don't really have a script for any of this.
And that's been my issue too, like with the podcast thing.
Yeah.
Because most of my interactions are question answer, question answer, because I have a camera and a mic and whatever. The podcast, it's I try to not get in that. You got
to be careful because you will like you were saying earlier, you haven't really ever done an interview. Well, I don't want it to feel like an interview, you know, even though that's what technically it is, you know, but we're still going back and forth and telling me stuff. But I don't want it to feel like I'm having to prompt everything, you know, but you do have to, being the host, you have to direct it. And sometimes you're like, shit, which way do I go? Do I go this way, this way? Yep. But having someone right across from you can fill them out, you know, kind of see, okay, what do we need to talk about next, you know?
And the podcast is good too, because you can just get off on tangents and it's totally okay, and people like to hear that stuff.
They don't complain about it.
And in news, it's, you know, I got 20 seconds here. I got to make that 20 seconds count. Stuff like that. So I've definitely enjoyed the podcast medium. Again, I don't know who's listening to it. Benchwarmers, KTBS.
Shout out. I'm sure some people are, bro. I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, actually,
you have quite a few following just on your stuff. So I'm sure you converted those immediately.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, and we actually got a request for someone to be on it the other week.
Those are fun.
Hey,
those are fun.
Go. Yeah.
I get a lot of bad ones. Yeah. It's like people send me something, and I'll always do this, man. They'll send me something, and I'm like, look. They're like, you should really have this person on, like you just said. So I'll go vet them for me.
Right.
It has, for me, this show, it has to be someone I think I can talk to.
Right.
Not that I align with politically or nothing like that, but
Yeah.
that I find interesting enough that I can carry a conversation for an hour or longer, you know? And some people, I don't think I can do that with, so I just pass on those. But I do, what is the best, and you'll run into this as you do more of those, is when you have a guest on, and then later on, they tell you, hey, just like you just told me, they'll tell you, hey, you should have so-and-so on, and they'll reach out to you, and you're like, well, yes, I'm going to, because they've already experienced it, and they know what to expect, and they know what the temperature is, and so it's a way better podcast referral. But dude, I've had some bad ones.
Yeah,
I've had some bad ones.
I love what you're doing, man. The highlighting this, just all the good stuff going on locally, and we don't get that enough, man. I mean, and even in our job, I mean, it's so easy to get caught in that. Oh, another shooting or whatever. And I
You brought it up. I wasn't gonna bring it up. You brought it up.
I know, but I so much disagree with that. Like,
Yeah.
and I've voiced my opinion on that in the newsroom many times. It's like, who are we serving that every time a gun pops off, we're running out there?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I know that's kind of just the way it's been done forever.
Well, I mean, we're just bringing attention to something that
Right. And obviously there are
yes, no, 1,000%.
plenty of times it's newsworthy.
Yes,
like
it needs to be, but like,
yes, but like, you know,
but if every time you turn on the news, that's what you're hearing, it doesn't give any sense of hope for any individual consuming that news.
right. Someone shoots, somebody grazes their leg, and everyone's fine. We shouldn't be leading with that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because all that does, I mean, people don't really read between the lines all the time, so they're just seeing, there we go again. You know, Shreveport's a terrible place.
Yeah.
And kind of back to what you said about LSUS, that's, I think, one thing I love so much about all of it is that celebration that they had downtown. I'm like, look at Shreveport, man. Like, we're fired up about this. This is great. So I'm hoping that momentum continues.
It got me to talk about it, and I don't even watch anything like that.
Right.
So it made me feel good.
I went to LSUS. I
Yeah.
don't go to a lot of baseball games. I'll just say it. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, but I am now because, you know, these guys are awesome and they were so cool, and just the way they carry themselves. I think it's like everything that we want Shreveport to be was what they were and how they represented us. And so I would much rather embrace that than to focus, because there's negative everywhere you look, anywhere, right?
For sure, for sure. Well, before we wrap, any final thoughts or anything, dude?
Oh,
anything,
man.
Any plugs, anything you want to talk about?
No.
Anyone you can give a shout out to, anything like that?
Of course, you know, we're getting ready to start Friday Football Fever. So, hold on. Southern Classic Chicken Friday Football Fever. Yeah, they're our big sponsor, and we love them, and we love their chicken, and they're freaking awesome. And
yeah, that place is wrapped around the building at all locations every day.
Yeah, they have been an incredible partner. We're going into our second year with them. So we'll start our countdown mid-August, 12 days, 24 stories, all local teams. We'll introduce you to the guys to watch, maybe some guys you wouldn't know necessarily, some great stories. That'll take us right up to the first Friday of August, which is the first show. And we can't wait. We are a one-time Best Sports Show in Louisiana winner. Hopefully trying to get it again this year. And so August, Friday Football Fever time, and outside of that, I guess check out the Benchwarmers. We got to get you on the Benchwarmers, and we can talk some MMA.
I don't know. That's all I'll be able to talk to you about.
Yeah, we can talk some MMA.
For sure. Anything else. I'd love to, dude.
Yeah, it'll be a good time, and maybe we'll bring you in studio so we don't have to do the Zoom. That'll be better too.
Oh, I'd love that.
Yeah, we can get you to show you the studio and everything. It's real cool. And I would say a couple of years ago, we upgraded the studio. So you probably noticed it if you've watched. It's pretty damn cool for Shreveport. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, awesome. Well, good times, bro.
Oh, man, I appreciate you having me on. This was great.
Yep.